Welcome to Puck Time. I'm doing my best Prez in interpretation. Welcome to Puck Time. Carmine Bianco from WagerTalk. We have three big games. No prop segment. Andrew is away today, filling in his seat. The one, the only, the Prez. On today's show, we are going to cover the Boston Bruins, Carolina Panthers, Seattle Kraken, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yes, we have to have the Toronto Maple Leafs on today. I am going to do the ladder challenge. Let's see if we can get through step two. Utah easily gets us the first step of the ladder challenge. And then we're going to finish it off with the Connor McDavid less, if that's even a word, Edmonton Oilers. He's out 2 to 3 weeks, and they are in Nashville tonight. And we'll discuss that game. Prez, thank you for filling in. How was your evening? And once you've done that, let us know what your thoughts are on this Bruins-Carolina game.
Well, given that you were challenging the Prez on your opening, how about this? Welcome, everybody, to Puck Time. I'm Lawrence Presman, Carmine Bianco, hosting with me. Kick-ass show, tons of betting information. Make sure to like our channel. Let's get straight into the Carolina-Boston Bruins game. Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. A happy Halloween to everybody out there. Carm and I are both going trick-or-treating tonight. You're never too old for free junk food. We're going as ghosts. It's the only costume we can wear where nobody knows our age. What do we do in this Carolina-Boston game, Carmine Bianco? I got nothing, like, legitimately. It feels like an under. It smells like an under. It tastes like an under. I think it'll likely go under, but under no circumstances am I betting this hockey game. However, I am going to hang out with you tonight, and for that, I am grateful.
Well, that's great. Maybe we can go as letters of the alphabet, Prez. I am going to go as the letter L. Because last night I lose with the over in the Vancouver and New Jersey Devils game. I know we don't want to talk about yesterday's games, but I'm always transparent. Guys in the chat, tell me, I posed this question to our producer and to Prez before the show. If someone guaranteed you that the New Jersey Devils would walk in to or skate into Vancouver and score 6 goals, how much of your bankroll would you bet on over 6.5 if they guaranteed you 6 goals by the Devils? I'm pretty sure a good portion of it, even though we advocate bankroll management on this show and at WagerTalk, 6-0 final. Vancouver looked so slow in that game. It was beyond me how bad they played. But with that said, we're talking about this game here. The Panthers are minus 170, and that line just keeps going up. The WagerTalk live lines now, I'm seeing 185 on not the Panthers, on the Hurricanes, on Carolina, minus 185. The Bruins, plus 145 to 155 now. It looks like it's going to be Swayman, and it states that expected is Kochetkov, but he started the last game, I believe, in Vancouver. And what Brindamore's been doing is basically rotating the goalies. Him and Freddie Anderson are rotating games. It's a great thing because they're playing extremely well. Prez, we talk about road trips. So, I'm leaning to Carolina here, a slight lean to Carolina, not on the money line, but on the regulation line. And that can sometimes be disastrous because the Bruins love to get the games to OT, pick up a point. But you look at this, and it is 6 straight games on the road for Carolina, returning home now. They've had a couple of days off since that game in Vancouver. They did have to take the bus from Seattle to Vancouver. Give me your thoughts on road trips. Do you want to fade a team coming off a Western road trip, having played 6 games?
So that's a really, really great question, Carmen. It's really what is keeping me away from betting on this game. Carolina, not only a long West Coast road trip, but an extremely successful one. They won their last 4 games. And, for me, I'd like to see them lose tonight and come back with them against Washington in a couple of days. That's the regulation play that I'm already circling. I don't like to bet teams on their first game back from a long road trip. And we had some professional hockey players on the show over the last few years, and they spoke about that first game back from a road trip does not bode well. And on top of that, Carolina is due for a loss here. Um, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, man, you can get plus 150 on the Bruins. If I'm betting the side, I like the under in this game, although I'm not betting this game at all. But if I'm betting the side, I would take the Bruins. I hate that first game back from a long road trip. So I don't think you and I see this game the same way, which is just fine because it ain't going to be on TV when we're hanging out tonight.
Yeah, I know we're gonna have the football game on. But
Oh
to
no,
your
you and
point
I,
of
dude, tell them what you and I are doing when we're at a poker game. There's a football game in the background, and you and I have set up a bank of phones like surrounding us with all our individual games on. So let's be honest here, Carm. You and I will both be watching the games we're betting on while at the poker table.
there's got to be a GA meeting somewhere in the neighborhood. Just way too many games going on at one time. But to your point of liking the Bruins, and if you like the Bruins, are you stating that if you like the Bruins, you like the under? The only reason is I would think if the Bruins win tonight, is it's going to be one of those 4-3 type of games because you're catching a Carolina team coming home, like as I mentioned, off a 6-game road trip, finishing in Vancouver, 3 nights back. So they've had a couple of days off after traveling from Vancouver cross country back to Carolina. So if they're not completely tight defensively, they can still score goals. 4-3 sounds like one of those great scores where you throw a little bit of pizza money on either team to win 4-3 and get probably plus 15, plus 16 to 1 odds on that exact score bet for either team. The total opened up at 5.5 and now sits at 6. So some action has come in on the over.
Yeah, look, this is one of these conceptual strategies that I use when betting. Boston is playing bad hockey right now. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. The only game they won was in overtime against the Leafs, and they let the Leafs back in that game. They had that game locked up. When a team is in desperate need of a win, I try to look at what the coach wants their identity to be. And the Boston Bruins want to be a low-scoring game. They want to keep teams off the scoreboard. That doesn't necessarily mean they will, but when they are at their best, it's going to be 3-2 hockey games. That's the score that I would bet. If I'm going to take a plus 600, guess the score, 3-2 Boston.
Okay. It makes sense. Carolina did. They've had the scoring. They have a good team. 22 goals scored across those 6 games. So that's like what 3.75 goals against average, I believe, if the math works out for them. And again, sometimes you return home and you're not completely ready defensively. You may be a little loose. We'll see. We're basing it on years of watching these games, doing this show, and seeing what happens to teams off of East Coast or West Coast road trips that come home in that first game, and normally is a fade one. Speaking of West Coast teams, Prez, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this one, and then I'll throw it to you as I get ready for the ladder challenge play. But Toronto Maple Leafs 195. It looks like it's Joseph Woll expected to start tonight.
Yep.
Grubauer expected to go for Seattle plus 165. They score 8 in Montreal. Did they leave all their scoring in Montreal? Because listen, we talk about the Leafs, and I give you a hard time on them, but it seems like they play down to their competition and then play up to their competition. And these last four games completely show that. They lose to Columbus. They lose to St. Louis at home 5-1 in a game in which most would have thought they would have bounced back. And then they played two very good games. They lose one in Boston in OT, but battled back in that one. And then win last time out. How are you approaching this game? I have to believe the Leafs in regulation get the job done. They've sort of owned Seattle for the most part since coming into this league. So the Leafs to get it done in 60 minutes for me, because I am not paying $1.95 on Toronto. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah. So Dan, yeah. So you're right, Dan. My hair looks amazing. Thank you for pointing that out in my ear. It's spectacular hair day, Dan. I love you, Dan. You give me so much confidence. Okay. Carm, I'm with you 100% on this play, Leafs in regulation. And I just want to make mention real quick. I got a bet on the Montreal Capitals game too, Dan. I know you're staring at my hair, but we're talking about the Leafs. Carm, one of the things Craig Berube mentioned in regards to the Leafs, this is his practical joke, I guess, putting up the crappy Montreal Canadiens image. Craig Berube, when he took over the Leafs, said, look, one of the things we're going to fix is this bullshit about losing to shitty teams all the time. And although that was not fixed against Columbus or Seattle, it's going to take time, but it is clearly something that Berube wants to fix. And I don't look at the Seattle Kraken as a shitty team at all. I think they're what I would call, medium well, if you will. This is a team that's going to vie for the playoffs. This is a team that's got, good depth, good goaltending, good coaching. I'm a fan of the Kraken. So I don't think we're going to see the Leafs sort of fall into the prey of playing a team like the San Jose Sharks. I think the Leafs are going on a run, Carm. They lost 3 games in a row. Then they came back. They beat Winnipeg. I predicted they'd beat Winnipeg. I now think the Leafs are going to beat Seattle, and I think they're going to beat them in regulation. Then they're going to beat St. Louis. Then they're going to beat Minnesota. And then they're going to beat Boston. So there we go, brother. 4-game winning streak, 5-game winning streak. Second game goes tonight. Toronto in regulation. I love that call as well.
Okay. Dan, our producer, I wish I had an image for that, because Prez is like, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. It just reminded me of that movie, Dude, Where's My Car? Where it's just like, and then. It's like, that is from Dude, Where's My Car?
I don't even remember that movie. But, I think it was like a Saturday Night Live game.
I wouldn't expect you to remember that one. But you mentioned the Sharks, and speaking of the Sharks, it is the ladder challenge now. We kick off the ladder challenge with a win on Utah, -125. The regression I thought was coming from, or that was with the Calgary Flames, and the turnaround by Utah, they both came together and resulted in, I think, a 5-1 final. I'm looking at the over in this one, and now you can say, okay, Chicago doesn't score a lot of goals. San Jose doesn't score a lot of goals, but we saw this from San Jose, as bad as they were last year and as bad as they will be this year. We saw this early in the season last year from San Jose, where they got on a spurt of games where they just scored goals and you couldn't understand where they were coming from. They came to the East Coast last year, win 6-3 in New Jersey, lose 6-5 in New York against the Rangers, beat the New York Islanders 5-4, beat the Detroit Red Wings 6-5, and then return back to the West Coast and lose in Vegas 5-4. All high-scoring games. They get into these spurts. It started in the third period of that Utah game where they scored 3 in 90 seconds. It carried over into LA where they scored 4 goals in that one. I say we see some goals tonight. This total sitting at 6 -110. Your ladder challenge play over 6 -110, 180 to win 164. If this one hits, we're at 344 heading into step 3 of the ladder challenge. So let's hope it does hit. Prez, before we go to the next game, what do you think? What do you think of this play?
I love it, Carm. It makes a lot of sense. And, one of the other things that we speak about regularly is, Dan, stop it, man. I know black T-shirts look great on me. It highlights my gray. Stop it, Dan. I love when bad teams play against each other and we take the over. I think that's a great angle. San Jose plays against Anaheim, Chicago, Utah, Anaheim, that kind of a thing. I love this play, Carm. I think you're going to win it.
All right. Speaking of winning, the Edmonton Oilers would like a win, especially with Connor McDavid out for the next 2 to 3 weeks. The Nashville Predators definitely want to win. They didn't start with the greatest record at home to start the season. I think losing their first 3 or 4 games. Both teams coming off a loss. Edmonton, they didn't even show up in Columbus, losing 6-1 in that one. In the that was their second game of the road trip after beating the Red Wings in OT. And Nashville, Steven Stamkos returns home to Tampa Bay, an emotional game. They tie that one up, send it to OT, lose it in OT as well too. But still a very good run by this Predators team, Prez, that have picked up 6 of a possible 7 points after that terrible run that they had. Minus 130 tonight against the Oilers. Oilers are plus 110. When a star is out, like McDavid, who fuels this team, even if he's not scoring goals, he's setting up guys. He's clearing up ice for other players. Do you want to bet against teams like the Edmonton Oilers?
Not really. Not tonight, at least. This is a tough hockey game. We've got that situation where the star player is out, and in every single league, every sport except if it's a quarterback in NFL, I'm looking to bet on a team when the star player is out. I think, and especially, Carm, when the team is playing like garbage, even when the star player is in. I think this might be the catalyst, sort of that moment in the season where it galvanizes the Oilers, brings them together, and gets them on a nice little run. The problem here is I think Nashville is due for a run themselves. And yeah, even though they've won 3 of their last 4 and gotten points in all 4 games, I don't think this Nashville team is done. I think this is a really, really hard game to handicap. I don't want to play on Nashville because I don't want to bet against Edmonton without their star player. And I don't want to play on Edmonton because I think Nashville is going on or still part of a run. I got to look at the under here, Carm. There's 6 goals. I think that Edmonton is going to struggle to score without Connor McDavid. I think they're going to really, really focus their attention on playing team defense. I think this is going to be a low-scoring hockey game.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have no thought on the total here. It obviously it's at 6, juice 20 cents to the over. I don't know how to approach the total when one of your stars is out. Andrew and I always talk about, sort of the next man up mentality for that. But I agree with you that the Preds are going to put runs together. This is a team that did stock up on some players in the offseason, a team that's supposed to be good. And sometimes it takes a couple of weeks to get that going because you really don't get that chemistry in preseason. We saw it with NFL teams, and we're seeing it with NHL teams that struggled at the beginning of this year. You look at Nashville, and it's somewhat of a favorable schedule for them, even though I'm going to name some of their teams. They play the Oilers, obviously, with McDavid missing. Then they get the Colorado Avalanche. We know that they have players missing on that team. They play them in a couple days. Then they have the LA Kings coming, who haven't been playing well this season. They get the Capitals. They go to Washington. Washington has been playing well. They get Florida, who returns back off that long voyage, 11-hour flight, I believe it is, 9 or 11-hour flight coming back from Finland, where they're playing the Global Series against the Dallas Stars. And then they play Utah. So there are games there, even though they're good teams. This is how you show whether you are ready, is putting it together against these teams. And I think they can. I'm willing to lay the minus 130 here because they're at home. The better goalie, if Saros starts, as he's listed to start, and it's supposed to be Picard in goal for the Edmonton Oilers. So I'll lay the $130 here. Yeah, you'd have to give me a little more plus money, Prez, on the
I
Edmonton Oilers for
agree.
me to want to take them. I don't think there's enough value taking the Oilers at plus 110. Yes, I get it. They
Yep.
made it to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. Yes, they have a lot of stars, but yes, they're struggling at the start of this season. And maybe it's a little bit of a Stanley Cup hangover because they haven't been playing well defensively. And when the Columbus Blue Jackets put 6 on you, you have some, no disrespect to the Columbus Blue Jackets, but you have some serious defensive issues when you allow 6 goals there. Any closing thoughts on this game?
I love both colors of these uniforms, just for the record. I know it's irrelevant, but I'm obsessed with both these teams' uniforms.
That's your thoughts?
I thought, doesn't everyone want to know that? I guess not. That's my thoughts, dude. I like the under in this game. I got nothing else. Carm is muted. Carm is muted. I threw him for such a loop. His computer went mute. Okay, so the next game we're discussing is best bets and closing. I got a best bet for you guys. Carm, I'm going to give out my best bet. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can hear me, though, right?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay. I'm not
So
sure.
my best bet tonight.
I was replying. I was replying to someone because someone's like, either one of you guys have crickets in the back? No, I have a Suncheek canoer. It's 5 months old. It is banging on the cage like it's playing the drums. It's doing its best Neil Peart because it wants out of the cage.
Does it sit on your shoulder?
It does, but it won't for the show. So there's the crickets. Dan is playing the crickets.
But where can we see the bird? Let's see the bird.
No, it's okay. It's over there. No. With that said, tell us what you have up at WagerTalk. We have a great deal. NHL guys, NHL 50 will get you. Sorry, actually, you don't even need that code. FBall 50 will get you $50 off college football or NFL the rest of the season, $50 off. And then the NHL package, no coupon needed, $149 for 30 days NHL All Access. Another great deal. Prez, what do you have up today? We know there's a Thursday night football game and, of course, a good NHL card. And give us a free play on the show.
Yeah, brother. So in regards to the NFL football, I can't find a bet on this game. I've been looking at the under, and I want to release the under. I just can't really get to the window. The line is super low. Both of these teams have, put up some scores of late, and I understand Nico's out and Diggs is out, but for some reason, Houston always seems to be able to move the ball with Stroud at quarterback. So I'm going to actually pass completely on the football game tonight, but we are going to do a deep dive on that game on WagerTalk today. Starts at noon Eastern. As for clients, last night I had a losing night. I had a stupid play, 4% play on the Colorado Avalanche and half their team because the other half of their team is injured. They only announced 2 crucial injuries after I put my play up, which stunk, but yet the Colorado still dominated the game. Almost outshot Tampa Bay 2-1. It was just one of those games where it got away from Colorado really quickly, and that was that. I do have 2 NHL plays up tonight, and I absolutely love them. I think I'm going to go 2-0 tonight in NHL, especially after I lost yesterday's play, and I will have one NBA play up as well. As for my best bet, guys, I'm going to shock you all to the core and take the Montreal Canadiens at plus 175 tonight. Now, really, my takeaway on this game is straightforward, okay? So, I'm what I call a rhythm better. We have to write analysis with our plays, and some of the analysis that I write for my NHL plays, I'm literally making up because I can't explain some of the reasons why I'm betting on a team or not on a team. I'm betting on teams based on the rhythm that I think these teams are in, based on their emotional state. And it's very hard to explain that. So what I'm looking at with Montreal is both a bet on Montreal and a bet against Washington. The Montreal Canadiens are not playing badly. They've won 2 of their last 3. They beat St. Louis and they beat Philadelphia. And then they had maybe their worst game of the season and likely their worst defensive performance, not only of this season, but of last season and likely the season before. They allowed the Seattle Kraken, who are no scoring juggernaut, to put 8 goals up. Whenever a team plays a game of that disastrous magnitude, I want to bet on them the next game. These are professional athletes. These are well-coached teams. These are disciplined individuals, and these are players that are able to bounce back. So we have Montreal off of an absolutely humiliating loss. Now they're going on the road and they're playing the Washington team. The Capitals are coming off of what will likely be their best game of the entire season. They outshot the New York Rangers 46-19. It does not get better than that. So, again, this is not a great Washington team. I want to bet against a mediocre team after they play what they would consider the best team in their conference, the New York Rangers, a team that they got excited to play, a team that they were up to playing, and a team that they completely dominated from the minute the puck dropped to the end of that game. This is a bad spot for Washington. It's a great spot for Montreal, and we're getting some juicy freaking money. I mean, this is a English Mastiff as far as the size of this dog goes. Plus 175. I really like Montreal here, Carm.
Okay, you've somehow pissed off Wash Redskins in our chat. One of our regulars,
love each other.
We
love each other,
no,
man.
I get it.
Okay,
I get
it's
it.
okay.
He understands your hate for the this Washington Capitals team.
I have no hate for the Washington
listen,
team.
Caden Primo starts in goal, confirmed for the Montreal Canadiens tonight. He's not Red Light Rasico yet. If anyone doesn't know who Red Light Rasico is, former Montreal goalie who had to wear sunscreen on the back of his neck because the red light behind just kept on flashing as they scored on him each and every thing. But the Capitals have scored more than 3 goals in 5 of their 8 games this season. So the Caps team total is 3.5 minus 130. So Wash, I'll take the Caps team total. That's not my show best bet. It's just an extra one. I'll take the Capitals to score at least 4 tonight. And then Prez, you can get 5 from the Canadians and everyone's happy. You win, I win. My show best bet is going to be the San Jose Sharks, Chicago Blackhawks over 6. The same play that is the ladder challenge, much like yesterday where the show best bet was Utah minus 125. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm going to go with a trend here that I think will work as far as goals being scored. And hopefully that helps us get through step 2 of the ladder challenge. 2 plays up in the NHL. I mentioned that great deal, $149 for 30 days NHL All Access. I have a game going on Saturday. The line is not out yet, but this game will be a 5% play, and the first 5% play of the NHL season for me. Pick up a 3-day All Access and get that included. I have a Saturday college football game of the week. Guys, number 2 amongst all cappers at WagerTalk in college football this year. And of course, number 1 last year in the NFL, and dating back 2 years, number 1. So let's just keep some of these runs going. Let's get this NHL season underway because Prez, November is here. And I'm going to try and replicate last year's November where I put October behind me and had a winning November. I'm looking forward to it. With that said, guys, please hit that like button. A lot of you guys viewing, not enough likes. Hit that like button. Drop a comment in the comment section below. We appreciate you guys tuning in each and every day. For myself, the Prez, and our fantastic producer, Dan Alexander, this is Puck Time. We will see you on Friday.